You ever look at some people and wonder how they build real, lasting wealth, while other folks with great ideas just seem to spin their wheels? Well, it turns out there's no single magic bullet. It's actually about mastering three different but totally connected worlds: your own inner world, the business engine you build, and the, let's say, unpredictable environment all around us. So here's our game plan. We're going to tackle this from the inside out. We'll start with the rock-solid foundation of wealth that has to exist inside of you first. Then we'll get into the nuts and bolts of building a machine that actually creates value. After that, we'll talk about getting access to capital. And finally, we'll face the biggest wild card in the whole equation: other people.
All right, first things first, the foundation of wealth. Look, before we even whisper the words business strategy or investment, we have to start right here. Why? Because absolutely everything, and I mean everything, gets built on top of the person you are.
This quote from Coach Echo Eschen just nails the mindset, doesn't it? Now, this isn't about becoming a hermit and cutting yourself off from the world. It's about a deep, radical self-reliance. It's making the decision that you are going to be the source of value, that you're going to be a problem solver, and that your financial future is sitting squarely in your own hands.
Okay, now this completely flips the script on what you probably think money is. See, according to the businessman Cosmos Maduka, the cash, the actual bills in your wallet, that's just the end result. It's the lowest level of this pyramid. The real money, the real currency, starts with your credibility. That builds into relationships, which are held together by your integrity and your character, and then it's all proven by your competence. Those things, those are the assets that actually make the cash show up. So here's the bottom line. If all you do is chase cash, you're going to be chasing forever. But if you focus on building your character, your integrity, your competence, well, the cash just sort of becomes the natural result of that. It's the proof that you've already mastered the levels of money that actually matter. Okay, so let's move into our second domain and see how this inner game translates into the real world. We're talking about building your value engine. We're shifting gears now from the internal mindset to the practical nuts and bolts mechanics of creating a business that can actually grow. This is such a brilliant distinction from the entrepreneur Myron Golden. If you're in a service business, you're basically in the time for money trap. There are only so many hours in a day, right? So your income has a hard ceiling. But in a product business, you break that link. Your revenue is no longer tied to your time. Think about it. It takes the exact same amount of time to sell one ebook as it does to sell 100,000. That right there is the key to massive scale. So what does it take to create a product that really works? Well, it boils down to these three things. First, is it desirable? And I mean desirable to the market, not just an idea you fell in love with. Second, is the result measurable? Can your customers see a clear before and after in their life? And third, is it statable? Can you explain what it does so simply that a 12-year-old would get it immediately? You nail those three, and you've got yourself a real value engine. And check this out. This is a total pro-level strategy. It's called a self-liquidating offer, or SLO, and it is a game changer. Here's the secret. The goal of your very first sale to a new customer isn't to make a profit. The goal is just to get a customer. So you create a small introductory offer that's priced just to cover your advertising costs. If you do that, you are literally building your customer list for free. The real money comes from everything you sell them after that. And that brings us to our third domain, navigating the external world of finance. It's one thing to have a great value engine, but it's a whole other thing to fund its growth. And to understand this, we have to start with a really powerful and frankly tragic cautionary tale. After the American Civil War, more than 60,000 newly freed Black families put all their hope, all their dreams, and all their savings into something called the Freedmen's Savings and Trust Company. They deposited over $57 million. For most, this was their first paycheck, their life savings. It was everything. And this is what was left for them. Zero. The white administrators running the bank completely mismanaged it. They made shady loans to their buddies, they basically stole the funds, and it all collapsed. 61,000 families lost everything. It was a brutal lesson that destroyed not just wealth, but generations of trust. So, if trusting the big institutions can be that risky, what's a better way to get funding? Well, this is where that inner game we talked about at the beginning pays off in the outer world. Remember those higher levels of money, integrity, credibility? When you build that with your suppliers, you can unlock something called supplier's credit.
It means they'll give you the goods or services you need upfront, on trust. It lets you generate revenue before you even have to pay for them. It's a type of funding based entirely on your character. And that brings us to our final, and you could argue most critical domain. You can have the perfect mindset, an amazing business model, even access to capital, but all of it, every last bit, can be wiped out by one single thing: the sheer unpredictability of other human beings. What do you think it is? Is it greed? Malice? No. What is the single most destructive force you will ever come up against in business and in life? The economist Carlo Cipolla came up with this very clinical definition. Now, a stupid person here isn't about IQ. In economic terms, it's someone whose actions create a net loss for everybody involved. And here's the crazy part: that often includes themselves. Their behavior is just fundamentally irrational. Think back to those bank administrators who destroyed a $57 million asset just for some short-term gain. Total net loss for everyone. And this leads us to Cipolla's most terrifying conclusion: a stupid person is far more dangerous than a bandit. Why? Because a bandit is rational. You can predict what a bandit will do because they're motivated by pure self-interest. But a stupid person is totally unpredictable. Their actions make no logical sense, which means you can't build a rational defense against them. The damage they can cause is, theoretically, infinite. So here's the final question we have to leave you with. As you're busy mastering your inner game, building your value engine, and navigating the world of capital, have you put up a defense against this final, most dangerous variable? Because it turns out protecting your wealth isn't just about spreadsheets and strategy, it's about understanding the full, messy, and often irrational spectrum of human behavior.